Good afternoon. Happy Wow Wednesday day. I hope you guys are having a good week, getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. Those of you who are in the US, or if you celebrate Thanksgiving, I guess which would be everybody in the US. Because I know Canada, they already had their Thanksgiving. So anyways, I hope you ladies are having a great day. I am here to bring you another training today. We're going to talk a little bit about how we can avoid some stress over the holidays, right? Because Thanksgiving kind of kicks off a few holidays, Christmas coming up. So I am way more excited about the holidays this year than I have been in a while. And the things that I'm going to share today are part of the reason why. And so if you're watching, of course, make sure that you let me know you can hear me really well. That way I know everybody can hear me. I do record these live so that they go back into the group so you guys can watch them later too. So again, I'm Alicia. I'm the founder of this group. So if you are new to the group, welcome. If you are watching on YouTube, welcome to you guys as well. Every week I do these Wow Wednesday trainings in the Healthy Moms of Faith group on Facebook, and then I will upload that video the following day on YouTube. So if you're not in the group yet, come join us. We'd love to have you. It's on facebook.com/groups/Healthy Moms of Faith, all one word. Come join us because I have a lot more to offer in the group, a lot of free resources, and of course inspiration, encouragement. We do some challenges sometimes. I have free programs that I give out. So come join us if you're looking to get healthier in spirit, soul, and body. Okay? So how are you ladies doing? I see someone's watching. Make sure you can let me know you can hear me. Let me know where you're watching from. Put live, put replay if you're watching the replay. I know people are probably kind of busy getting ready for tomorrow. My kids are out of school today, so they're in quiet time. But yeah, I'm excited to bring this training to you today. So if you're someone that you tend to find the holidays more stressful than restful or joyful, then this training is going to be for you. I really wanted to bring this training to you guys today because it's just pertinent to life, right? And that's what we're talking about here in this group. How can we get healthier in our lives, right? And so sometimes the things that we need to do, they're related to ways we need to manage our life, okay? So welcome to you ladies here in the group. These live trainings are for you guys, you moms of faith, because we're desiring to get healthier in spirit, soul, and body, right? So that we can live a life we are designed to live, a life that's thriving, not just surviving. So I want to provide you guys some value here in this group, some ways to understand and build foundations on taking you from building healthier habits to lifestyles to the transformation of your health. Transformation, sometimes we don't think about that, but that's the long term, right? That's the rest of your life. And that's what I want to teach you here in this group. So if that excites you, give me some thumbs up, give me some hearts, some likes. I'm excited to share this with you. So I'm going to go ahead and get going. I see someone's watching, so just help me out. Let me know in the comments real quick if you can hear me, just because sometimes I have issues with my audio. I'm going to check the group and make sure that we're live. I'm sure we are, but I always just double check to make sure so that it gets recorded. It looks like we're good. Okay, so I talked a little over a month ago. I did a couple trainings on just the idea behind managing stress. And I talked about the effects that stress can have on our body. I'm sure we all know this, but sometimes life is just so fast-paced that we forget that sometimes we need to work on some things, managing our stress better so that we can actually manage our health. And so just a recap on that, I would go back and watch those videos. If you want the replay of those, just put stress replay and I'll send you those to your messenger. But stress can have a fair amount of, or a pretty big amount of impact on our lives. And so, a few things that can happen is our body, it it manages some things through hormones, right? I think we know that as women. We all know what hormones are. But what can happen is if there's an overproduction of certain types of hormones, especially cortisol, which is kind of what happens when we have that fight or flight mentality, or your body reacts to something, that is what is released. Well, if you're living in a constant state of stress or anxiety, cortisol is produced in abundance, as well as like other hormones, of course. So those hormones have to either be ejected through your body, through your skin, or they get stored. So a lot of the times what will happen is a lot of those extra hormones get stored in belly fat and extra weight. And so that's why it can be kind of dangerous to have extra belly fat, because then that affects cholesterol, that affects your heart health, all these other things. So it can be really hard to get rid of that fat because you've got these extra hormones that are being produced, okay? So that's just one way that stress can actually have a negative effect on your health. And so when we are stressed, that is one of those hormones that tends to get overproduced. All right, and that can lead to, anxiety, depression, all these things that we can struggle with. So I just wanted to recap that because I want you to really understand the physical aspects to why we need to manage stress better, okay? Now, when we're talking about the holidays, right, this is supposed to be a more joyful time of year, right? But being a mom, being a wife, sometimes we're the ones that have to host. We're the ones that get to help out, do things, that kind of thing. It can be a little overwhelming, right? Let me know in the comments. Does that ever happen to you? I have hosted the different holidays on and off, and we're hosting Thanksgiving this year with my husband's family. But he has a smaller family. I grew up in a huge family, and so that was that was fun. So lots of food, lots of things to do. But anyways, I've learned some things over the years on how, when it comes to parties or just doing things, hosting things, that there are certain things that I can control and that I do have permission to do, right? Especially if you're hosting. Now, if you're not hosting, then you're just kind of told to do what you are supposed to do, that kind of thing. But we're thinking about the holidays in general, right? So Thanksgiving and then Christmas is coming, so there's a lot of planning that goes into Christmas, right? So what are some ways that we can really manage and avoid stress when it comes to the holidays? Hey Candace, I see you're watching. Hello. So these are some things I want to share with you today that have helped me. And so the first thing is, and if you have a piece of paper, write this down. If you're watching it later, grab a piece of paper and write this thing down, because these things are really super important. Sometimes we hear them and then we forget them, right? And so when we write things down, we just remember things a lot better. So one thing that helps me, I said there's two ways, right? There's two ways to avoid stress. I'm sure there's many more, but I'm just going to share two with you that have helped me. So one way, and I've realized this over the years, is that when it comes to stress, the biggest thing I can tell you that you can focus on is you, right? We can't control other people, and other people can cause us stress, but I don't have to participate in other people's stress, right? I think setting that boundary for ourselves and realizing that I can control me, that's the most important thing, right? So that's what that first way is write down, I can control me, right? I can control me. I also wrote down, I can control me and my home, right? So people are coming over to my home, I get to decide how things go, right? And or if I'm going over to someone else's house, I can control what I sign up to bring for food, or I can control how long I want to be there, that kind of thing. I have control over that, right? So here's some ways that I have practiced this, not necessarily for the holidays. I'm going to share a couple of those things as well, but some things that I have learned to do in my own home with my own family so that I can manage and avoid stress in my life. I think we all know ways that we personally need to have downtime, we personally need to relax, those kinds of things. And so again, remembering that it's super important to understand your priorities and the best ways to do that, obviously being in the Word. But one thing that's really helped me over time, my kids, they did pretty good with naps, especially when I was a stay-at-home mom. But one thing we have done, and that's what they're doing right now, I mentioned it earlier, is instilling some quiet time in our home. So when my kids are home, they're not at school. On the weekends, we have a couple hours where it's just quiet time in the house. You know, the kids go to their rooms. As long as they're pretty quiet, you know, they can play on their Kindle or read a book or whatever it is. That has helped me immensely. And I share this, you're like, what does this have to do with the holidays? Well, it's just an example of a one way that has helped, and actually it's great for everybody. I think it's good for kids to, you know, spend time being by themselves, learning how to entertain themselves, not always needing something. And again, age appropriate for all of these things. But you know, Jude asked me the other day, he's like, Mom, when will I be old enough to not have quiet time? And my husband was like, well, Jude, I even like having quiet time as an adult. Like, there just needs to be this presence of stillness that we need to teach ourselves, to teach our kids, to have some quiet, right? We all need to rest and relax and not just have something always going on, right? And so that's just one way that it has helped me. It has saved me from so much stress and anxiety, or when I was having a rough day. It was like I had a couple hours. Oftentimes, when my kids were at home and they weren't, you know, in school yet, I would take a nap. Sometimes when I was struggling with the beginning stages of my thyroid disease and I didn't know really what was going on, I needed to take a nap. I would sleep a lot. And so that's just one way that I've been able to manage stress, is instilling some quiet time in my home. And so while, you know, specifically the holidays, if you're hosting, that may not be an option necessarily. But one thing I will do sometimes is, you know, if I do feel a little overwhelmed by people that are at my home, I will go off. My bedroom is upstairs. I will go off just for a few minutes, just to take some deep breaths, just to kind of collect my thoughts. It's not that, you know, I love being around people, but as I've gotten older, I've realized that you take on other people's, you know, emotions and stress and that kind of thing too. And so, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, you know, and so sometimes just a few moments, that's why I think we joke, I just want to use the bathroom by myself, right? You got to do that. You really do. And that's okay. Looking at yourself, what can I can control? If you're at somebody else's house for the holiday, or you're, you know, going to a party, whatever, step outside for a few minutes. If you're starting to feel like, oh, there's a lot going on, just take some deep breaths. So remember, I can control me, right? I can always control me. You can be polite and excuse yourself for a minute or whatever, you know, we're adults. And so that's just one way, is instilling some quiet time in my home. You know, managing our bedtimes with the kids, managing your nutrition, your movement. You have control over those things, right? So working to avoid stress. If you're someone that you need to go take a long walk, go do it, right? If it's, you know, for us, I find the day after Thanksgiving not really a great time to go do Black Friday shopping. I needed downtime. I like to do online shopping, whatever it is. The idea here is that just remember this focus, this first way, is that you control you. I control me. So I can do some things. I can be polite and excuse myself. Go take a few deep breaths. And the other piece to this is, you have some stressful relationships, right? That's one thing that sometimes when the holidays come around, you have those people that maybe you don't like to be around, or you've had conflicts in the past. What do you do about that? Again, you can control you. I can control my response, right? I can control me. I can control my response. So if you know the buttons to push, don't push the buttons. And if you need to step out for a few minutes, take a few breaths, that kind of thing, that can really be helpful. And I mentioned this again along the lines of, this first way is I can control me, right? Is I can be in the Word more, right? And I want to read a passage in Philippians, probably a very familiar passage, but Philippians 4:4-9, it says, always be full of joy in the Lord. I say it again, rejoice. Let everyone see that you are considerate in all you do. Remember, you control you. I control me. Remember, the Lord is coming soon. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything you can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. Verse 8 says, and now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about these things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you. So again, that's Paul writing to the Philippians. And so, I thought it was interesting too, because before this, he gives some words of admonition to, I think he's writing to Timothy, his partner. It says, verse 2 says, now I appeal to these two ladies, I'm not sure what their names are, Euodia and Syntyche, we'll say. Please, because you belong to the Lord, settle your disagreement. And I ask you, my true partner, talking to Timothy, to help these two women, for they worked hard with me in telling others the good news. So, he's talking about how to be full of joy in the Lord, for other reasons too, but, that relationship issue that those two ladies were having, that just kind of resonated with me, with the holidays. Sometimes it can be stressful with relationships, right? So, take those things into consideration. Make sure that your first priority of taking care of yourself, right, is being in the Word every day. Renewing your mind so that your response to stress, to avoid stress, we have to understand that we do have to respond if other people are trying to put stress on us, and we can politely say, I don't have to be a part of that. I can control me. And so, but the Word of God helps with that when it comes to renewing our mind so that our response is correct and we don't have to trip up and mess up and maybe cause more of a problem. So that's the first way. So if that's something you need to help with, or you need to work on, we all need to kind of work on this, but yeah, just put control me in the comments and let me know, yeah, okay, I'm going to start practicing this. I'm going to help with this. And does this resonate with you? Let me know that too. Is this making sense? Are these things that you struggle with? Because I know that we all do in some way, shape, or form. I can't answer your question right now. Not right now. Oh, I see. Okay. Can you go back upstairs, please? Buddy, it's quiet time. Speaking. No. Because it's not time yet, buddy. Jude, it's not 3 o'clock yet. Okay, go back upstairs, please. All right, so the second way, we're going to get back to this. So yeah, just let me know in the comments, does that make sense to you? The second way is, or the way I want to lead into this second idea has to do with, again, we have to remember that we can control me, or I can control me. It might just be easier if I say it that way. I can control me, right? You say that. I can control me. The second way to, or way that I've seen helps us manage stress better, is specifically when it comes to the holidays. But this works in other times in life too. It is working through this process of understanding that I can control me. So that also means, and this is the second thing that I would write down is, I can say no thanks. I can say no thanks. Sometimes in my life, I have, I say that I'm a recovering people pleaser, because sometimes I have put other people before my own needs, and I have seen many a mom do that. And sometimes it's really easy to do, right, with kids who need something, and your husband needs something, and your family needs something. But again, I can control me. And the second way is I can say no thanks. So specifically, for the holidays, the last couple of years, because we usually host, or it's just worked out the last couple of years, we've hosted Thanksgiving at our house. And my husband and I, we hosted our extended family a few years ago. And so we decided, okay, there's no way we can really cook enough turkey. We'd have to cook 2 turkeys. And so we decided we were going to do a smoked turkey, right? It was amazing. We did 2 of them, and we were like, why did we never do this before? And so my husband was like, I am totally fine paying the money to have someone else cook our turkey for us. And so that's what we've done the last 3 or 4 years, I think. And so I just call Price Chopper up and order a turkey, and they smoke it for us, and it's amazing. And so I say that because I can control me, right? And I can say no thanks. So I can look at what it takes to host, and or if you're taking something to someone else's place for Thanksgiving, you control what you bring, right? You sign up for something normally, unless someone tells you what you're bringing. I usually have the option. So that's not the case for you, then that might not be something you can control. But I can still say no thanks to certain things. And so when it comes to this, understanding that I can delegate extra work, right? It works really well because I do a couple of things, someone else brings something. Usually you work together in this process, but I don't have to do it all. So I don't know if you're that person. And I know many moms like to do the whole meal, whether it's the Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever it is. But I grew up in a huge family, and so it's just always been a part of my world where everybody just kind of took something and everybody had a part to play, right? But I've also lived in a state of, in the past, feeling like for birthday parties or whatever, that I needed to do it all myself. And it's been crazy. People who know me and my family, like my daughter and my daughter's first birthday, we invited everybody and I did all the things. And it's, of course, morphed over the years where it's a smaller process every year. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need to do that. Until where last year we were like, we're doing a pool party. We're not doing anything in our house because I don't want to have to clean up the house, right? So it morphs over time. You learn these things over time. But again, you delegate, right? I can say no thanks. So if you're hosting, there can be things that you have permission to ask people to bring things. You don't have to do it yourself. It doesn't have to be immaculate type of thing. And I know we struggle with that, right? We want it to be so perfect and all that. But remember, and this is the main thing, remember what the holiday is for, right? It's to enjoy being together. It's to be, specifically with Thanksgiving, it's to be thankful for our blessings, thankful for a free country, that kind of thing. So just remember what the holiday is for, and don't lose sight of that. And again, that's what Scripture can help us do, especially like for Christmas time. We get all up in arms about the presents and all of those things, and teaching our kids these things are really important too, what the purpose of Christmas is for. So just remember the purpose behind the holiday and allow yourself to delegate. Allow yourself to say, you know what, no thanks. I don't have to do it all, right? This also goes along with your health journey, right? So a lot of people worry about gaining more weight over the holidays. I'm not saying that we can't, have a few things every once in a while, right? But you don't have to go overboard for 5 days. I know there's going to be leftovers. There's lots of ways to do things. But, going along with the same mindset, I can say no thanks. you can say no thanks to that extra piece of pie. It's okay. You know, you can say no thanks if you are in a place where people have asked you to host and you just feel like I can't or I don't want to. Say no thanks. No thanks to hosting the event. You don't have to. You can control you. You can control you. Okay? So those are the two things. And again, if you are someone you need to practice saying no thanks, put no thanks in the comments and let me know. Is that you? Because this is something I've had to continue to practice, and I'm easier at doing it now. I'm unapologetic about saying no thanks. I don't have to do that. We don't have to please people. Okay? And if you struggle with people pleasing, let's talk, because it's probably keeping you from your kingdom purpose, because you're probably too busy doing things that God maybe probably didn't tell you to do, because I've been there before, and you're not really living in your mission that He has for you. And so figuring that out and stepping back, stepping away and saying, you know what, no thanks is okay, right? So those are the two ways I wanted to share today. How you can avoid stress. Remember, I can control me, and I can say no thanks. All right? So if that makes sense to you, if this is something you need to work on, or just even good reminders, please let me know if this is valuable to you, because I really want to bring you guys stuff that's going to really help you with, again, managing stress. The whole point of this is because it does affect our physical health, right? It affects our mental health. It affects our emotional health. All of these things are connected. So, all right, so that's all I have for today. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Next week, I'm super excited to bring you another training. We're going to talk about how do we jump back on track, right? Because we've got the Thanksgiving holiday tomorrow. Everybody's going to have a little more than they probably normally do. We're going to have fellowship and all of that. So how do we get back on track with our health goals after a holiday? I want to talk about that because it's really important. And I've got some fun stuff planned for the rest of the year too. So I'm super excited. So be watching in the group. There's going to be a few free things coming. So make sure that you're watching for those. Again, if you know someone who struggles with stress over the holidays, please share this video with them. Whether you're watching in YouTube or if you're in this group, please invite them to the group and tag them on this video, because we are not alone in this journey. And I think that is the biggest lie that the enemy tries to put on us, is that we're alone in these things, and we're not alone. That's why this group is here. We're here to encourage each other, inspire each other to get healthier, right? So that's all I have for today. If you need help with understanding any more about how to avoid stress, if you just need permission to say no, then talk to me, right? All right. You guys have a great day. I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching, Candace. See you later.